Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in. This is Tiffany Lachey, and I want to welcome you all to my channel. I'm so excited about today. This video has been long awaited by a lot of people, and I'm bringing someone in with me today, Miss Lynn Douglas. She's going to help me talk a little bit more about sex. Sex is such a big topic in our generation today, and I did a whole video on the topic of sex can wait and how I have been waiting outside of the times where I was in the world before. So today we're just gonna go a little deeper in, so keep watching. So I am here with Miss Lynn Douglas. Just a little bit about her. Lynn is a graduate of North Carolina Central University, in which she obtained her bachelor's and her master's degree. She is also a former Miss Black North Carolina. Woo woo. And she currently works as a school counselor, and she has a nonprofit organization called Chosen, in which she helps and caters to young women. This is something she has a passion for. But the reason why we are here today is because she is also on an awesome faith walk as it pertains to celibacy, as it pertains to abstaining from sex, and just making sure that we give God the glory and that we offer our bodies as a living sacrifice to Him, which is the basics of this video today. So what I want to do is turn it over to her. I want her to just give her testimony, whatever God lays on her heart, because we know that it's not only men that struggle with sex, it's women also, because it's a desire that we have in us naturally, but as children of God, we know that it's something that we have to take control of. So, Lynn, go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself.
I've grown up in church literally since birth, and I think, growing up, we're kind of taught to just, don't have sex. Nobody really tells you why. Nobody really goes and tells you the backdrop of the consequences and repercussions of you deciding to engage in sex before marriage. And so myself, much like a lot of my other peers, we heard it. A lot of us didn't have sex because we were scared, because the message was, if you do it, you're going to hell. And so I'm like, okay. So, I spent pretty much the majority of my life being completely terrified of what would happen if I did decide to. And so it wasn't until I got to maybe like my senior year of high school, like the beginning of college, somewhere between that time frame, that I kind of started developing my own ideas about things. Like I started thinking, well, is it really that bad? Like, what could really happen? And then I started thinking things like, well, maybe not marriage, but if I'm at least in love with somebody, then, we'll see what'll happen. But it's funny how God kind of graces you when you just don't know to do better, because anytime, I would meet guys and we'd have the conversation about, if I was sexually active or not, I'd tell them that I wasn't. And for the most part, I can't really think of anybody I ever dated who tried to break that boundary with me. Mm-hmm. Now, there were a couple guys who, of course, they all try it.
Right.
But, I didn't really experience, a crazy attack or like anybody trying to make me do anything different than what I already wanted to do. And so some time passed, and then I started kind of noticing a pattern where it seemed like every guy who I was interested in, I didn't see it as respect at that time, but they respected me so much that they really wanted nothing to do with me. And so I kind of started feeling bad, like, well, maybe I need to kind of like relax on my standards a little bit. Right. But, as time goes on, you experience things, you encounter people, you think that you would never do certain things, and then you try things that, aren't good.
Yeah.
And so I am what the world would probably consider a virgin. Technically I am, but I believe that when you really are a virgin, you really are somebody who's been completely untouched, unscathed. And it took me a very long time to kind of develop my own idea about, what was and what wasn't, as far as, my own status is concerned. Right. I've been in situations with, guys that I've loved or cared about where things went a lot farther than they really should have gone. And a lot of people try to tell you, well, it's not really sex if you don't penetrate, or it's not really, you're not going to develop a soul tie if you don't go that far. And that's not true, because at the end of the day, your soul is not just, your spirit, man. Your soul is your mind, your emotions, everything is connected. And anything that you do with anybody, can put you in a position where you can develop a soul tie with somebody. And you might think that a couple nights or a couple months of pleasure and you doing whatever you want to do is going to put you in a position where, you'll be fine and you'll be able to bounce back from it. But it's not until years go by that you start realizing the deposits that were placed and the things that were transferred between you and other people, and things about yourself that you can't change, and you don't understand why you are this way. You don't understand why you can't shake this person, why you can't get this person out of your system. Like, it's something that's really important. And so because of that, and me going through my own struggles and me dealing with my own, soul ties and having to break those things away, and the time and the years and the work that it took to break away from that, I made the conscious decision that I was going to have to either choose to live right or not. And so, as time has gone on, have I been in positions where I've had the opportunity to step outside? Absolutely. Have I been tempted to? Absolutely. But I can say that as of January of this year, I've been 100% celibate for like 7 years now. And it's a daily struggle. It's a daily walk. Sometimes you have thoughts about things you really don't mean to, but it just is what it is, because we're humans, we're sexual beings. But I've decided that I'm going to wait until I'm married, because I just think it's important. I think that you making the decision to save yourself for whoever your future spouse will be is the ultimate commitment. If you can commit to that in your singleness, and you commit to God in your singleness, He'll deliver everything that you need when you enter into a marriage. I have learned over time, and especially with me developing the standards that I have for the people that I date. Like, I'll be 30 in June, and a lot of people say things like, oh my God, like, you ain't met nobody yet, you still single? Absolutely, because I expect certain things, and there's a certain standard that I live my life, even with my relationship with God. And so I have to make sure that whoever I'm in relationship with is also meeting that same standard, and is also trying to take that same walk as well, because it's not going to work. Even in my own experience, a lot of people would think, well, if you're not having sex and the person who you're dealing with has been sexually active, they're going to pressure you. It was never them, it was me. I've learned I'm aggressive. I didn't know that about myself. But, that's something that I had to, to deal with and to accept about myself, and to learn how to not be that way. It takes time. It takes you really being intentional about walking this thing out, not putting yourself in positions where you will be tempted to fall, not putting yourself in relationship with people who will tempt you, or who you will be tempted to tempt to fall. It's a daily walk, and I definitely think that it's 100% worth it. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't change it. I don't regret, me living my life the way that I do. I think it's important, and I think overall you save yourself from so many things, and from so much extra stress. Like, I feel light and I feel free every day of my life, because I'm not walking around with any soul ties to anybody. I'm not checking for anybody, trying to figure out if they sleeping with me and sleeping with somebody else. And if I do decide that I meet somebody and we go on a couple dates or whatever, it's not hard for me to say bye if it doesn't work out, because there are no strings attached to it. So it saves you, and it really is like you being abstinent or being celibate. It's protection. That's all it is. It protects you from everything.
One of the things you said earlier, you said by me not being sexually active, like, it made you want to lower your standards. And like, one of the things that I really want to let girls know is that If you are not getting men lashed out at you all the time, if your DMs are not full all the time, if they ain't calling you sexy all the time, it's because, like she said, they see something greater in you. I actually had a guy tell me, like, in high school, I always wanted to talk to you, but I knew you weren't doing what the other girls were doing. So I chose to take them on a date because I knew what I would get at the end of the night. And had I took you, I wasn't going to get what I wanted. So it's not the fact of nobody wants you or nobody likes you or you're not attractive. It's that they see the potential in you. They see how great you are, and that should make you feel good about yourself.
Right.
And we should never lower our standards, because if we lower our standards, then we're just cheating ourselves. So Lynn, because you work with young girls and like that's a passion for you, and a lot of them are like going off to college, what is some advice that you would want to give them for ones who have fallen and for ones who are just thinking about it?
Well, for one, going to college, that's really, I don't care if you've been having sex since ninth grade, you're still sneaking and doing it for the most part. Now, I know some people's parents are very liberal, but for the most part, you're sneaking and doing it. This is the first time in your life when you're going off to college where you really and truly have the space, the room, and the opportunity to do anything in the world that you want to do, and nobody can tell you not to.
Right.
And so, not even just for girls, but for guys, like something that I tell my students all the time is to be bougie with your body, like seriously, because you just lay down with anything and everything. Like, I've met people over the years who have, had sex with 2, 3, 4 people at orientation. Orientation is an overnight experience. Like, what in the world were you doing? You know? And I don't mean to say that from a judgmental place, but that's just how much that people disrespect themselves and disrespect their bodies. And I'm not saying that if you choose not to abstain, that, you're a horrible person. But what I am saying is that you really have to be careful about who you give yourself to, and understand that for every decision that you make and for every person that you decide to lay down with, you are taking on characteristics and spiritual things about this person. Like, sex is not just physical, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's mental, it's a lot of different things. And so you have to be careful about how you're putting yourself out there and how you're presenting yourself. But to the ladies, like, you don't know these people. You've only been in school, especially for your freshmen, you've only been in school for maybe a couple weeks, or at this point in the year, a couple months. You're just about to complete your first year of college. You have to think about everything that you've experienced up to this point. The people who you've come into contact with. Is this somebody who I'm going to be embarrassed to tell other people that I've had sex with? If by chance, because people are always amazed when they get pregnant, because I don't think anybody means to just get pregnant, but if I am to have sex with this person, and if we do get pregnant, well, what now? Am I going to be raising this child on my own? Like, those are the kinds of questions you really have to ask yourself. Be intentional about everything that you do, and what you'll find is that choosing to be celibate, there's nothing you have to worry about. I mean, yeah, like I said earlier, you may lose out on, it may feel as though you're losing out on some really great guys or some really great people that you want to get to know. But when it's all said and done, do you want that person to get to know you for who you are? Or do you want that person to only really want to truly get to know your body, and then that's it? What is it that you're trying to gain from it? What is your end goal? So, just be careful in who you choose to invite into your space, especially if you're choosing to be celibate, because you think you know your own strength until you're placed in a position where you're not as strong as you thought you were.
Right.
So you just have to be careful about doing that. And I'm really big, especially on telling my girls who are transitioning into college, how important it is to have their eyes completely open to everything that's going on around them, because you're experiencing so many different things at so many different times, and you're really growing into who you really want to be for yourself for the first time, without your parents telling you who you're gonna be.
Right.
And so you have to make that decision. Like, one bad decision with a guy, on a random Tuesday in October your freshman year could ultimately determine your entire college experience and dating from there on out the entire time you're in college.
Right.
Like heaven forbid, you have sex with a guy your freshman year, and then he goes and tells everybody, and now this one encounter has turned you, into somebody who's promiscuous, and that really may not even be who you are.
Right.
But you never know. You don't know people. You don't know their intent, which is why it's very important for you to just not up and decide to start having sex with people on a whim.
Right. So that's good. I really hope that the girls, not only that you mentor, but anybody who watches this video or shares this video, I hope that any message could be taken from this. Like she said, whether you have been sexually active, because I've been sexually active. She's been 7 years, but for me it's only been 2. But in this 2 years of celibacy that I've started after having 2 children, like it was a struggle for me, because I had a live-in boyfriend where I could have sex whenever I wanted to. So to go from that to go from, God, I literally give my body to you, and that includes not using any toys or anything like that. It's literally not having any type of orgasms at all. I gave it all to Christ. So I just want to encourage everybody out there, not just women, but men too. Like, your body is God's temple. Like, this is His. He did create sex for us to enjoy, but He created us to do it inside of marriage. So, and I know a lot of people tired of hearing that, like, I don't want to wait. But just like she said, it's not just about that. It was created to be in marriage so it wouldn't mess with our minds, so it wouldn't have us out here going crazy and doing things that we wouldn't normally do. It's so much more than just wait for your husband or don't have sex. It's created to protect us. That's why we should abstain from it. So, and we made this video because we love y'all and we want y'all to experience the freedom that we now have. I feel so much freer now that I'm not engaging in sexual activities, and that all soul ties have been broken, even from my children's father. And that is a blessing all in itself, because that was a hard thing to get over and get past. So we just want to encourage you guys. Me and Lynn will post our Facebook names so you guys can follow us if you have any questions, comments, concerns. If you need prayer, I'm sure she or I will be here to help you out, or just be somebody, because accountability is definitely important, and you need people that you can be open, honest, and transparent with. So we thank y'all for tuning in. We will upload more videos soon. Lynn does a lot, not just celibacy, so she may pop up again. I got her on speed dial. So we thank you. We love y'all, and we are praying for peace and prosperity over each and every life that sees this video. Y'all be blessed.